All right, guys, here we go.
Welcome back. The House Ways and Means Committee holding an intense hearing on Tuesday, investigating left-wing nonprofit organizations and the, quote, maligned foreign influence in those operations. Committee Chairman Jason Smith called out multiple nonprofits for alleged ties to the Chinese Communist Party, including former tech mogul Neville Roy Singham, who I've also called out on this program. Here's Jason Smith yesterday. Watch.
Many of these tax-exempt groups also have documented ties to hostile foreign governments, like the Chinese Communist Party. It's no wonder that the People's Forum echoes Communist Party propaganda. One of their largest donors is a wealthy former U.S. tech executive living in Shanghai who is cozy, extremely cozy with the Chinese Communist Party. Know that this committee is coming for you. We will not hesitate to use every tool in our toolbox to root out the foreign influence lurking in America's tax-exempt sector.
Joining me now is Gatestone Institute Senior Fellow Gordon Chang. Gordon, great to see you. What are your thoughts on this? We've talked a lot about how China has been able to infiltrate the U.S. on so many levels, and it's also what the chairman is talking about right here.
Well, certainly. And what we saw in 2020 was that China actually participated in the Democratic Party primaries. They favored Joe Biden, right, and then they favored Biden over Trump in the general election. And we also know that in 2020 that Chinese actors, probably at the behest of the Communist Party, were fomenting violence on American streets. So really what we got right now is an influence network that it has been basically committing acts of war against the United States. It's that serious.
Yeah, it sure is. Now, President Trump is expected to meet Xi Jinping in Beijing on April 6th. And this morning, Reuters is reporting that the Trump administration will scale back a number of security measures on Beijing, including the current ban on China's American telecom operations and the sale of Chinese equipment for U.S. data centers, all ahead of this meeting with Xi Jinping in April. Your reaction?
This is wrong on every level. You know, I don't think President Trump should go to Beijing, but if he does, he should be going there from a position of strength. He should not be giving the Chinese concessions beforehand. That's what Keir Starmer did, the British Prime Minister. He approved China's mega embassy. Then Starmer went to Beijing and they humiliated him nonetheless. So this is just the wrong way to deal with China. You want to get results from China, you impose severe costs, and you make the Chinese negotiate with you. You don't give the Chinese what they want beforehand. This is just wrong.
Yeah. Well, I'm not expecting Xi Jinping to humiliate President Trump, that's for sure. However, I agree that I don't know why the president has to give in on any of this stuff before this meeting. What's your take on China and its support of Iran? Because Iranian officials are pushing to strengthen ties with both China and Russia. Ever since Operation Midnight Hammer took out Tehran's nuclear sites last June, we know that all the way back to the 1980s and 90s, Iran was purchasing weapons from China. What about most recently? What do you know here? Because Tehran reportedly turned to local production or Russian imports. Is China helping to advance Iran's military?
We know that there were about 20 flights of cargo planes from China to Iran. We also know that the reports are that China has sold Iran recently missile defense systems, anti-cruise ship missiles, all sorts of equipment that Iran would need if the U.S. were to attack. And the other thing, Maria, is that just a few days ago, Iran announced that there would be joint exercises among Iran, Russia, and China in the Indian Ocean. At the same time, the Trump administration is reportedly sending a second carrier group to join the Abraham Lincoln Group, also near Iran's waters. That's a lot of firepower in close proximity to each other. And of course, that's a dangerous situation.
Yeah, so
Certainly, I see the influence of China on the Middle East and Iran and their support of Iran. And I can see the ties between the three communist nations, China, Russia, and Iran. And so We know Iran is definitely a nation that doesn't really relinquish any of its power to anyone, just like the superpowers of China and Russia. But Iran is trying to get to become a small superpower, and we definitely don't want that in house because it doesn't have a we don't have a relationship with Iran in that perspective in that regards as far as uh, military or political at the level where we've been dealing with each other for decades. It's always been an adversarial role for the U.S. against Iran. So yes, China is doing this on its influences, its world influence, because we know China will love to become the superpower of the world in place of the U.S. And so they will be doing different strategies and tactics that is not in behest for the positively for the U.S. So we're going to Russia. I like this diplomat, U.S. diplomat here speaking, saying we're going to China in a not a, in a mutual adversarial role. We're going into a position of against weakness, and China will take advantage of that. China's not a country where it looks kind on weaknesses. It's a strong nation. It's a world superpower. So definitely, it's in a position if a nation come over there to deal with them, you should come in a position of power. So I agree with this guy. So this might not be the time to go, but maybe the president have some other with his council have some other reasons he's going that we can't see at this particular time. We're just projecting what we view. What is your opinion? Leave a comment down below.
So what should the U.S. be doing about
See?
it?
I think that the U.S. needs to do everything possible to end the Iranian regime. Iran has nuclear weapons. It has threatened the United States. This is something which is grave. They've declared war on the U.S. within the last 4 weeks. So, yes, we should be sanctioning and seizing Iranian cargoes on the high seas. And we should also be hitting the Iranian regime. Remember, they've killed tens of thousands of protesters. Some of those numbers are hard to believe, but clearly it has been a campaign of mass murder against the Iranian people.
Right. Well, we'll see. I mean, the president said help is on the way. So, and he's giving Iran time. We'll see what he does next. Meanwhile, the Department of Agriculture and the Department of War getting together, advancing the Farm Security Action Plan. We spoke with Brooke Rollins this week. She's trying to protect American farmland from foreign adversaries, specifically China. And I spoke with her on this program yesterday. Watch this.
Well, I'm going to make a statement on what you said. I really didn't know that Iran declared war on the U.S. in the last 4 weeks. So this information is new to me, and maybe I'm lost. And now we're prepared for the deceptive. If that's the case, then we're at war, from their perspective. So why are we negotiating if we're at war? If they declared war 4 weeks ago, and we're prepared over there. We in a position of they're making a statement. They're speaking that they're at war with us, but we are actually moving in the direction of war. And they have let off a couple of little items that we got down. But so if we're at war, then there's no need for negotiation. We just need to do the transition. But I think the president is actually looking at the perspective of still diplomacy. Now I see Netanyahu is the president and prime minister of Israel. I understand his position now. If it was a declaration of war, then we're at war, and they're trying to backdoor us move some financial supplies out for the leadership to get away. Yeah, we're at war, and that's not fair. If we did diplomacy and they dealing in war tactics, two different strategies. So yes, I'm with it. We should if while they're weak, we should invade. Just my opinion. What is your opinion? Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think. If we're at war, if Iran has declared war on the U.S. and we're at war, then negotiations off the table till we see that we come together and define what we would do next after a war campaign, a battle campaign. So, nevertheless, I don't know. This is above my pay grade. What is your opinion? Leave a comment down below. And if China is We need to get a hold of our NGOs and our nonprofits because we know China has influenced some of these nonprofits with money. They always try that, influence corporations and nonprofit sector with money, and some of these companies have failed. And now we're revealing the ones that have failed. Let's continue on with this news report. And what are your opinion? Leave a comment down below, please. I'll wait to hear from you.
Before President Trump came into office, the consolidation of our farmlands, the foreign adversarial ownership of farmlands, especially from China and other places, has really been creeping up on our country. Now we have almost 300,000 acres owned by China. Of course, a lot of our food supply and food sources are now foreign, come from foreign sources, and we're working to reverse that while at the same time protecting our farmers, protecting our farmland from our foreign adversaries.
Yeah, but
Well, my question is this, for her question, is why are we got 300 acres given to of U.S. farmland given to China, sold to China, when they know they're adversarial enemy? We can do business, but they should not have China, and China do not let you have over. They always got to own 50% of whatever business you own in China, and that's been said by the guy off of Shark Tank, Mr. Wonderful. So there has been definitely a change of guards here. I don't understand this positioning, but let's find out what's going on. No way you should have 300,000 acres of U.S. farmland and you are an adversary to us. You're not a friend. This is business. I would never let you own property in my land. I would do business with you, but no, you could not own property in my land. Yeah, this is crazy. Let's find out what's going on here. The Secretary of U.S. Secretary of Agriculture is speaking on that. That's Brooke. So what do you think, guys? Leave a comment down below. This is strange. This last administration, Biden administration, I don't understand this at all.
question to the agricultural secretary, Gordon, was, okay, so you're stopping it going forward. What about all the farmland that China already owns?
Yes.
I think it's like 300,000 acres.
That's crazy.
Yes, and it's more than that because the Chinese don't report many of their purchases. And what we should be doing is, we know the Chinese have been committing crimes on that land, and that means under federal forfeiture statutes, we can seize that land without compensation. And clearly we should be doing that. The other thing is that there should be federal legislation forcing the divestiture of farmland owned by China. Just give them a year, give them 2 years, but force them to give it up. And also, I think that we should be expropriating Smithfield. There we have to pay compensation, but nonetheless, we should not have China in our food supply because we know the Chinese have been trying to plant invasive species in our country. And those Chinese researchers at the University of Michigan were smuggling in modified pathogens, including fungus and roundworm. So
that's what I was going to say right there, guys. We know that the Chinese, when we go to the university down in Texas, or the University of Michigan, he just stated, and they've been bringing fungus from from China, and smuggling them in there, and then embedding them in our research and sending students out to do research and infusing it into our agriculture and killing it, and also putting fungus and other worms and stuff in there, so that comes into American citizenry, and affecting us our health. So no, that's an enemy. Get rid of them. Period. Now that we have that, all property is seized. That's what I would say. All property is seized in the U.S. You know, you're letting the enemy in. No, keep your money. You don't get no money. Now that we have seen that, they have shown us the pathogens that they brought in to go out and to research and do our agriculture and invade it with these species. So yes, since we caught that and we know it's China, no, seize all the farmland.
Yes, this is an important issue, and we need to get China out of our food supply. Simple as that.
Yeah,
Simple as
and
that.
not to mention the
100%.
biolab that
100%.
was just
Hard stop.
exposed
I'm
in
with
Los
you.
Angeles recently. Gordon, great to catch up. Thanks very much. We'll be watching that story, certainly.
Yeah, this is a wrap. That's crazy. What is your opinion? Leave a comment down below. China should be out of our agricultural, full stop, period. No, on no property that house our food supply. None. That's an adversary. You know, that's like an enemy in your house, man, and destroy your house. What you think they're gonna do? No, full stop. None. Period. You could do clothing, machinery, but we got to. That's on exterior for only export, not import to nothing here. We import. Yeah, this is crazy. I didn't know all this. What is your opinion, America? Leave a comment down below. This is crazy. It's like we're running in the Special Olympics, as one of the Anton Daniels always said. I'm quoting Anton Daniels. I'm gonna use that. I'll give his credit for it right now. Yeah, this I feel like the U.S. is Special Olympics. We're letting this happen across the 300,000 acres. This is crazy. What do you guys think?